What's going on, guys? It is now 2026, and what better way than to ring out the new year by going to a blast into the past and watching one of my old 5 types of Sony shooters videos. So what we're going to be doing for today's video is watching this and kind of comparing and contrasting where we used to be versus where we are right now in 2026. So for the record, when the Sony Alpha E-mount series of cameras came out, of course, it was still in its infancy period, and there were still a lot of opportunities that were recognized and fixed upon in later revisions. But this is from that early first generation of cameras that we saw. And one thing I did notice is I shot a lot of those cameras, shot a lot of scenarios, so on and so forth, and I realized that there were some issues with them. So I decided one day I'm going to make a video about all these issues that I noticed. Whether it was a Sony issue, whether it was an us issue, whatever it was, I decided to go ahead and make that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this video, and I'm going to go ahead and maybe give some comments on it, so on and so forth, and then just kind of have some fun watching some old entertainment. Now, for longtime Sony shooters, you have probably had these situations happen to you before. And then for the newer Sony shooters, well, now you guys get to see what we had to deal with in its very infancy before we got to today where we're at Sony's prime. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so right off the bat, okay, so A mounters. This was a thing back then. It was a translucent mirror system, and not a whole lot of people shot it. Some people did, but not a whole lot of people. Now, the person that you saw in this video, he actually shot A mount, and that camera right there, that was his. That was the A99. It just, I mean, once E-mount came out, that was the end of that. Once mirrorless came out, that was the future. A-mount was left behind. So this video, we did this on purpose because, again, like here he is shooting his A-mount, right? And then looking around to see who else is there with him, and it's crickets. This made me laugh. So I actually did speak to him the other day, and he moved on to the Canon RF mount quite a while back too as well. So yeah, A-mounters, if you don't know, if you're a new Sony shooter, A-mount was the previous mount before then. Completely dead in the water now though. I will say that the A99 Mark II was an amazing camera, and I think that it was like a nice swan song for all the people who had stuck with A-mount at that time. So A99 Mark II is still a good camera, has, I believe, the same sensor as the Sony A7R II, had all the bells and whistles. But unfortunately, A-mount is now RIP. So with that being said though, I thought it was, I think A-mount was already RIP when I did that video. But let's move on to the next one.
For me, shooting Sony isn't just about photography. No, it's about art. It's about philosophy. And dare I say it, for me, it's a little spiritual.
Okay, so Sony nonconformist. At now, everyone shoots Sony, or a lot of people shoot Sony. Sony is ingrained into the architecture as just another camera company like Canon and Nikon. So you're buying Sony just because you just want to shoot Sony, or maybe there's like a specific technical thing you want to do. So at that time, Sony was really starting to become like a little tech snobby type deal. And if you were shooting a Canon 70D, the guy next to you, who was that kind of snobbish one, was shooting like a Sony A7R II or even like an A7S II, something like that. So there was definitely like a little subsect of people who were shooting Sony for that type of deal. I remember for this shoot, as a friend of mine, his name is TJ, and he had that Eiffel Tower thing up already. So I said, great, let me just get these candles right here. We'll light them up and then put on your little Sunday best and act as snooty as possible. So I think he worked out really well, especially with the whole spiritual line, because some people did take that a little bit serious like that as well. Like they saw it more as a a rite of passage or as an event rather than like I'm just shooting this camera for whatever reason. It was, to them, it was like, it was all about, not only am I shooting cameras, but I'm shooting Sony a7R II or the a7S II. So that was where they kind of got off on that too as well. Very funny, actually.
What? No, you guys. Takes great pictures. Still does.
Okay, Sony kit lens. I made a whole video about this. I just don't think it's that great. If you're just shooting it just to take photos and stuff like that, it's okay, but you got to remember that this camera was supposed to be like poised as your entry into cameras alongside your iPhone. So when you bought the iPhone and you're taking the photos of the iPhone, they look basically the same thing as this new camera you got. There was a problem, okay? A lot of people kind of expressed that. The problem mostly had to do with the fact that just the lens was just not good. Where do I start? Okay, 16 to 50, so it was a good focal length, but the problem was though, was that it was only ever sharp at like f8, okay? So at f8, that's good in full sunlight and the whole thing, but then at night, it just kind of falls apart. The A6000 sensor wasn't that great too as well. It was nice and sharp in good light and with good ISO, you know, decent ISO range. But once you started pushing that, it just really fell apart and had like these crazy like hues and casts and all that. It was like green and purple and all kinds of craziness out there too as well. So very, very difficult lens to work with unless you were like in full sunlight. Taking portraits and things like that is okay if you were like in the middle. You couldn't do portraits to the side because then the middle would be kind of sharp, but then the people on the side were actually, when you want to see them sharp, no, they were just as soft as like the extreme side too as well. It's crazy. Kit lens, I think it works okay for video. I think it can be okay for video in sunlight, but again, once you put it out there, it's just, especially with that A6000 sensor at the time, terrible, okay, terrible. So people got mad at me at that video that I made. I still stay that kit lens is not good. Matter of fact, what I have right here, this is the kit lens. Well, let's go ahead and do a 3D, woo, woo, woo. Okay, like the old SCTV things. This is a kit lens right here. It's small, it's nice and compact. Camera is very lightweight, but just that lens is terrible. So now back to the video. One cool thing about the video is that every sound that you heard of the shutter, that was the actual sound of that shutter. So I went and recorded the sounds of each one. So you had the two Sonys, and then you had the Fuji, then you had the other Sony, and then we had the 6000. All those things were like legit. That was the sound what they were making. Although I do question the hands placement of the person shooting with 70 to 300. Yeah, I question that kind of, what the heck is going on over here? It's pretty funny. They're totally snickering at the guy shooting with the kit lens, saying that, yeah, it's good. And then, of course, the guy himself is a little bit bumbling. It's my friend Mega. He was a good sport about it. It was really fun. We had a good time filming that one. But yeah, definitely the kit lens. Back then, the kit lens is trash. Today, the kit lens is trash. But now we do have the excellent 16 to 55 2.8, again, which is what I'm filming on right now. That really just kind of, it's like quadruple the price, but now you finally get like a worthy lens for the APS-C system. So it was, it's a little bit old now, but it still holds up, you know, relatively well. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. But yes, kit lens is garbage. One of these days I'll do a video where I get a baseball bat, I throw the kit lens in the air, and then bam, just destroy it just like that. We'll catch it on video. Okay.
Hey guys, today I'm going to find the elusive zebra sparrow. I think somewhere in this piece of forest here. I can hear it coming somewhere. Hey, I think I got it. What? Oh, damn, I need a longer lens. Ah.
Sony and wildlife shooting, in the beginning, it was exactly like that. We had the 55 to 210. It was a cheap lens, it's like $300, right? It's about 300. Yeah, it was about $300. It just, I mean, like, it was okay for what it was, but man, like, there was this nice bird. There's a lot of different type of birds in Singapore, right? And so when I was out there shooting out there, there was a nice bird. I would go out there and using this 55 to 210, and you would sit there and take the shot. It looked okay, you know, on the back of the viewfinder and the viewfinder, whatever. But then you would go ahead and just see the preview and then magnify it, and then it was terrible. So I will tell you right now, my friend Eric went and shot that. We intentionally did some like weird stuff, like we put misfocus and just all kinds of craziness, just to kind of throw the video off kilter a little bit. So what ended up happening though was even he was genuinely like frustrated at shooting it and getting a good shot, and then it turning into that blurry mess right there as well. Combination of course, the high ISO, which the 6000 really couldn't handle very good, and then just the overall bad, mediocre, subpar optics of the 55 to 210. It's not that bad. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but it was definitely like Sony was not a wildlife. It was very difficult. I think maybe at the time when the A mount was still around, you had that 100 to 400, and that was about the best that you got. That for like regular consumers. So definitely wildlife shooting back then, just like that, exactly like that. Wildlife shooting today though is a little bit of a different story. So I have right here Sony a7R5 coupled with the 400 to 800. I can put the a6000 on here, I can put the a67 on here, no problem. But now we have lots of range, and you can get lots and lots of really nice professional looking wildlife photos with what we have available. But back then in the day, it just wasn't around. So you were kind of stuck adapting from A mount with some autofocus issues or using the 55 to 10. Speaking of which, here it is. Sony a6000 with the little 55 to 210. This is the same one that was used in that video like 8 years ago, okay? And if you look right here, here we go. This was it. So this was some pain. This was definitely like really super aggravating that this is all you had to do. And look at that most beautiful bird you've ever seen, and you're stuck taking this and then looking on the back of the viewfinder and then seeing that unusable. So definitely we have come a long way from wildlife from these days to the days that I just showed you right now. So very happy about that. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the last one.
Is that the Sony a7R2?
It sure is.
I heard it has a good dynamic range.
I can turn night to day. No noise.
What are you shooting for?
Instagram. Okay, all right. A few things to unpack with this one. So, number one, look how young I am there. What happened? That's all I got to say about that. Okay, now the tech snob portion of it for the actual video. So here's the thing. A lot of times, you know, we would have, and this goes back to my earlier like non-conformist one, right? Where you would have someone shooting for the fact that it's the newest Sony camera and it has 42 megapixels and I need the ultimate resolution possible. And then you would have just a person who wasn't a camera person come up to you and inquire about it, and they'd ask you, oh, what are you shooting? And then you'd have this overpowered beast of a camera, and then you're shooting for like Instagram. So the a7R2 was meant to shoot really nice, big prints and things of that nature, right? Billboards. And then what are you using it for? Well, I'm shooting this Instagram photo, which is gonna be viewed on this little tiny little iPhone 5 at the time. Ultimate dynamic range, but you never saw it because it was on the Instagram platform, which was being viewed on the little iPhone 5. So this was a thing. And even I did shoot the Sony a7R2 for things like Instagram and all that. So it was one of those ones where, yeah, definitely at that point, there were a lot of tech snobs that were shooting that camera specifically to be able to say that, look, I'm out here and I'm I'm look at me. I'm shooting with the A7R2, and everyone else is stuck with the A6000 or the Canon, 70D or 60D or whatever, right? So that definitely was a thing. Makes me laugh. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are waiting for the A7R6 so they can shoot with whatever the new platform is. Unfortunately, Instagram's different now. It's going to be just all reels, like video and things like that. But back then, pictures were serious business with that. So, where is the future going to hold, or what does the future hold for the future Sony cameras? Who knows? Hopefully we're going to see pretty soon some new announcements and new lineups and all that. A7 V came out. It's a really nice camera. Not a lot of downsides, I think. I think it's probably like one of the most stable and the most like workhorsey cameras that Sony is gonna have. But we'll see from right now. So I hope you guys did enjoy this little blast to the past. I'm debating on making a new 5 types of Sony shooters video for 2026. So if you have a new type of Sony shooter that's current right now, just go ahead and drop it in the comments below. I'll take a look at it and I'll see if I can't put pen to paper and then paper to screen. So until then, I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.